What is going on, guys? Lottery Stocks here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if you're new. Today we have a lot of stuff to go over with AMC, so make sure to stay till the end of the video, hit the like button, and also hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, we have some stuff to talk about. Adam Aron, Brian Tuttle, some collusion happening potentially with Ken Griffin, and some banks offloading their shares in AMC. U.S. leading economic indicators tumble for 12 straight months, signaling that a recession is imminent. On top of that, something is wrong with the bond markets. There is severe stress as the extreme front-end rates have decoupled. The 1-month T-bill is now at 3.89%, and the 3-month T-bill is now at 5.2%. The spread is at a record 131 BPS. So what is happening with the bond market? Now, this article is back from March 25th of 2020 when negative rates come to the US. 1-month and 3-month Treasury bill yields are now below zero. Before this, there was only one other period briefly in 2015 when that happened, but the most recent yields were well above that level. If you come back and take a look at the S&P 500, this just happens to be at the exact same time the market bottomed out when COVID hit, March 25th of 2020. However, this isn't the same, as they're not just sinking, they're actually creating a very, very big spread. So what do you guys think going forward? Are we about to see a major dump in the S&P 500, or are we about to see a recovery rally just like we saw back when COVID bottomed out? Now it's time to get into the interesting stuff. HSBC and AMC connected. HSBC Holdings PLC reports a 57.64% decrease in ownership of AMC. Now this is a little bit old. However, what I wanted to come back and look at is the 13F on HSBC. This is the bank we talked about in yesterday's video, who are basically retiring their stock loan accounts and working with the DTC, so on and so forth. Now you can see that they accumulated AMC shares all the way up, at the highest being in late December when AMC hit the lowest at $1.91. You can see it below in the faded chart. This was the lowest AMC has ever gotten and the highest that their position has gotten, at least from then to the time prior. AMC then ripped and they offloaded a little bit of shares all the way leading up to the May-June event. This is when they offloaded the most shares. Following that, they have been accumulating shares since. The largest accumulation when AMC hit a relative low right around $11.50, and then they offloaded a ton of shares right before APE was actually issued. Now this is getting to a very, very low, which is interesting, right? Because if they are stopping their retirement account and they're about to load up again, could they be loading up for the actual squeeze instead of loading up to lend out more shares? You guys let me know in the comments down below. Overall, their timing is a little bit efficient and a little bit fishy at the same time. Now this Brian Tuttle guy, we don't want your freaking settlement. This is Brian Tuttle's change.org position. You'll see how many of us no longer are willing to be your ATM machine any longer. Retail, if you do not agree with Adam Aron, sign Mr. Tuttle's petition. Now, I never think Adam Aron's this good dude. He is sketchy to say the least, right? However, this Brian Tuttle dude and this Allegheny lawsuit is fishy. You see, Lind and partner Tuttle Land Investments recently secured a $126 million construction loan from S3 Capital. But it just so happens that Citadel and Melvin Capital may have just been working with S3 Capital. S3 Capital is a leading privately held real estate lending platform owned by Mr. Brian Tuttle. So this Allegheny lawsuit comes up, and it seems as if Brian Tuttle may have made some deals with Ken Griffin. Of course, all speculation. But here's what I find interesting on top of that. Centricus Acquisition Corp announced the election of Mr. Adam M. Aron as a new director of the company. Mr. Aron has been appointed to serve on the audit committee. Now, this was May 7th of 2021. A lot of people said, you know, this doesn't really have to do with us, right? People do business all the time. And in that case, then the Brian Tuttle, Ken Griffin situation, you can just wipe off your chest and sign his position, right? This is where retail can't get an answer. This is where everyone's stuck in the middle. Is Adam Aron a good guy? Is Adam Aron a bad guy? Do we want the settlement? Do we not want the settlement? Now, sure, this might have been debunked. This might have been just, you know, pushed out by retail saying that, you know, whatever, brush it off her shoulder. This was 2 years ago on Reddit, basically stating everything that happened with the company and how that company was owned by Citadel and how Adam Aron was colluding with Citadel, colluding with Ken Griffin. Now, if you press any one of these links, which is very, very interesting, right, to the actual SEC filings, to the actual company, to the actual website that I just pressed on, by the way, shout out to somebody on Twitter for sending me this, all of these links are now invalid. If I pressed on any one of these links, it brings me to a page not found. Even if I press on the SEC filing, the legitimate SEC filing, SEC report, the page cannot be reached. On top of that, this is on Twitter from June 23rd of 2021, Why is Adam Aron working with Citadel? Proof currently working with Centric's acquisition. Proof Citadel acquired ownership of Centric, so on and so forth. Both of these links are now invalid, no matter which one I press on. So it seems as if something got kicked under the rug, but you guys let me know what you think it is. Was this taking advantage of shareholders? Was this paid to hide something? Not to mention, Adam Aron wasn't receiving the compensation from the committee of this company. You can just assume where I'm going with that. Moving on, before we get into the crazy Ortex numbers, if you guys want up to 15 free stocks, use my link under the video, download Moomoo, and make a deposit on your phone so you can start earning free stocks. Also, join the Discord. That link is under the Moomoo link as well. You guys should not sleep on the Discord. We have options trading alerts. We post losses, post gains, and talk stocks all day long. Moving on. Now, on Interactive Brokers this morning in pre-market, the cost to borrow max was at 1,050%. However, coming over to Ortex, it ended up dropping 26.41% short interest. Utilization maxed out, shares on loan 193 million, and the cost to borrow dropped a little bit at 345% for an average and 345% for a max on AMC. These are the current numbers, and as for APE, 5.72% short interest, utilization at 68%, and the cost to borrow not being reported once again on APE. Now take a look at the AMC fails to deliver, where we're sitting at right now. You can see that they are scaling up and getting extremely high. Now we were on the threshold list for 38 days and then completely just got wiped off without price action showing that they covered FTDs. Who knows what happens with this? I'm not going to hold it to it, but AMC is still on the threshold list currently. But take a look back here. The fails to deliver are getting even higher than they were between the first run up and the June run up, which is something that's good to see. Could they flush this out, or are we about to have another rip? Now, Tiger Global's $12.7 billion venture fund has lost 20% amid more than 100 individual markdowns. Facebook will lay off another 4,000 employees today to begin its new round of layoffs. Now, the options chain, they purposely dumped AMC and GameStop this week because it had the furthest expiration, as well as the whole HSBC thing that happened. They are doing things behind the scenes to make sure they don't rip. They basically force these puts in the money and force these calls out of the money on AMC's options chain, and you can definitely tell in GameStop. The reason you can tell in GameStop is because more people were bullish on GameStop starting this week. However, we got 111,000 short exempts yesterday on GameStop just to drop this thing. We never see it that high on GameStop except back from March 22nd. Now this weekend, I'm going to be touching all over the charts on AMC and GameStop, so make sure to have post notifications on for that. I haven't in the past couple of videos because you knew my outlook that they are going to scale down this week, and I stuck to it, and that is exactly what's happening. But either tomorrow or Saturday, I'm going to be covering the charts fully and my opinion as to what's going to happen next week. Before we close out the video, Paris Stock Exchange Euronext building is being taken over by protesters. I love you all. Enjoy the clip.